So at CamCham, at the Crystal Ball, I talked about the rise of e-commerce in Vietnam.
Take effing action, put it together, and subscribe to Tom Penn's channel on YouTube now. Yeah, I like it. It's crazy.
So back in February, March, I gave a speech at Canadian Chamber of Commerce. We talked about the future of the Vietnamese economy. So we had speakers from different industries, like leaders in real estate, finance, and some of these, executives from top companies here in Vietnam. And I was invited to represent e-commerce. I want to show you the presentation that I made there. And you had to pay like $2 million to get into the event to see me talk. So today you get it for free. So at CamCham, at the Crystal Ball, I talked about the rise of e-commerce in Vietnam. And let's see if I remember what I said, all right? And it's already like more than halfway through 2020, and let's see if my predictions that I made back in February, March stays correct, all right? So starting with the rise of Vietnamese e-commerce, e-commerce in Vietnam is obviously growing, right? So we're projecting that, in 2020, the market value in Vietnam is gonna grow to about 15 billion US dollars. And you can see the steady growth here. And this is one of the highest growth countries in Southeast Asia, right? And it's projected to grow to like 25 billion by 2025. And that's 30% year-to-year growth. So as of at the end of 2019, the top e-commerce sites in Vietnam are Shopee, Sendo, and the mobile world, Tigil Didong, if I say that correctly. So these are by traffic. So those are the most visited websites, right? And by the most active users, it's number 1 Shopee, number 2 Lazada, and number 3 Tiki. And so you can see that Shopee is very dominant in this market. And like the local companies like Sendo and Tigil Didong, they're catching up. Like Tiki, like Sendo, they're catching up to their international regional competitors like Lazada and Shopee. As we can see here in Vietnam, 28% of the Vietnamese e-commerce market is dominated by regional companies like Lazada and Shopee, but 72% of the market is taken by local companies. That means companies that only serve the Vietnamese market, like Tiki, like Sendo, like the Tigil Didong, right? This is a very interesting analysis here. That means that the local companies have an advantage over the regional and international players. And maybe I'll say a little bit more about that. Maybe because the local companies like Tiki, Sendo, and Tigil Didong, they understand the local markets better than their regional competitors, so they're using that advantage to win over their regional competitors. So in 2019, we saw some exits from the e-commerce space. Adroit from Vingroup has exited the e-commerce space. Lotte has exited e-commerce space, and La Flare, which is a interesting e-commerce site that sells famous branded goods, that also has exited the e-commerce space here in Vietnam. Adroit and Lotte, those are unfortunate because they invested a lot in their e-commerce strategies, and at the end of the day, they realized they can't make money in the space, so they got out of there, right? But we did see one new entrant into e-commerce, and that is Voso.vn from Viettel, right? So they're gonna compete with Lazada and Shopee, and they think they can win in the marketplace space. So what are people buying in Vietnam? Well, like according to this graph, most people buy fashion on e-commerce marketplaces. Fashion is number 1, beauty is number 2, cosmetics. Food and beverages is number 3, IT mobile phones is number 4, and books and stationeries is number 5. And we know that Tiki started with books, and we know that Digyo Didong is primarily mobile phones, right? So that gives you an indication where they place. Now, there's been very healthy investments coming into Vietnam in 2019. So there's about like $750 million invested into Vietnamese e-commerce from foreign investors, according to some ministry report. I can't remember which one. And just to give you some ideas, Sendo got $61 million, Tiki got 75, Ecommerce, which is the parent for Giao Han Nhan and Aha Move, they got $100 million. Momo, which is a mobile payment service, they got $100 million. And the biggest winner here is VNPay. They got $300 million, another mobile payment solution provider. Mobile payments is gonna continue to grow in Vietnam, even though still cash is king here in Vietnam, but there's an increasing adoption of mobile payments. We can expect about 11% of year-on-year growth in this space. And the challenges, in my opinion, this is my opinion, that the challenges with mobile payments in Vietnam is that the user experience still needs to be improved. When you compare mobile payments in China and the mobile payments in Vietnam, it's significantly different. The payment here is still too complicated. When I see people trying to pay for coffee or whatever in a store, the process is still too complicated. In China, for example, you just take your phone, beep, done. So I think the biggest challenge is user experience. So another situation that is brewing here in Vietnam is that both Amazon and Alibaba.com is trying to enter Vietnam, but not in the way you think. They're not trying to serve the consumer. They're coming into Vietnam thinking that Vietnam is going to be a major manufacturing hub in the future, because a lot of manufacturing is moving from China to Vietnam, and Amazon and Alibaba.com has entered into Vietnam to try to entice manufacturers to sell their products overseas to the United States, to Europe, to Middle East through their platforms, right? So this is going to be a very interesting fight, because these are the two world's largest e-commerce companies. And when I say the largest, I mean Alibaba is like 10 times bigger than Amazon, right? Alibaba is just massive, it's huge. Nobody knows how big they are. They're basically Facebook, Google, and Amazon combined as a company. That's what Alibaba is, right? So they're both inside Vietnam, but they're not trying to build a platform. They're not trying to serve the end consumer. They're trying to convince manufacturers, small, medium-sized businesses that want to export to international markets to use their platform. And I'm going to talk about this slide in another video, but this sort of tells you the e-commerce journey for most Vietnamese small, medium-sized enterprises. I'm not going to talk too much here. Usually businesses start with social selling, right? And then they move to platforms like Lazada, Shopee, and then they start building their website, and then they start thinking about, offline to online, like a fully integrated solution. We'll talk more about that in a separate video. So, headwinds. So what is, making e-commerce growth difficult in Vietnam? I would say it's delivery time, because products are still being delivered 3, 4, 5 days from seller to buyer. But there are companies that are trying to solve this problem by offering one-day delivery. I know Tiki is offering a one-day delivery service. And also there are logistics companies that can deliver within 30 minutes now. And there are companies that are building services that can deliver from Hanoi to Ho Chi Minh City in the same day. by using Vietjet and other logistics companies. So creative solutions are happening for reducing delivery time. Another challenge for e-commerce in Vietnam is the quality of products. A lot of people sell crap, right? And when people sell crap, then people are going to trust e-commerce less. So quality control in these marketplaces are important. And because of the quality of products, that means weak consumer confidence. Consumers are not as confident when they buy online. What are my predictions that I made in March 2020? Let's see, okay? So I predicted that Amazon and Alibaba will increase activity in Vietnam to core exporters. And guess what? It happened! And Amazon is, really, stepping up to, increase their activity, increase their awareness, and helping Vietnamese exporters to export. And they're doing it through us because we are their partner in Vietnam. And Alibaba is working with my company to push Vietnamese manufacturing to sell Vietnamese products to the world. And I think that's a very noble cause. I think that's wonderful. And that's something that we want to do more, right? And my second prediction is that niche single market players will continue to gain market share. So Tiki, Sendo, and the Gil Dong will continue to eat into market share from Lazada and Shopee. That remains to be seen. Let's see at the end of the year, see what the numbers are, right? And the number 3 item is that more companies will focus on profitability instead of growth. So a lot of companies, e-commerce companies in the past, they just focus on growing their business by spending a lot of money without caring about making money, about making profit. But I think there will be greater focus on profitability going forward because you can't just burn money all day long and to get customers. And I think we will continue to see that. We'll check at the end of the year, see if that's true. And some of the microeconomic predictions that I made is that retailers, small businesses, are going to move towards O2O, meaning that they're going to build offline to online integration. And we are seeing that even in our own business. We're seeing that a lot of the retailers, sellers, they're asking questions like, how can I sell online? How can I integrate my offline business with my online business? So that is an increasing trend here in Vietnam. And my microeconomic prediction is that there will also be greater adoption of mobile payments. But I put if there. And the big if is that if the mobile payment companies improve their user experience. And lastly, shorter delivery time. I think that will happen. We will continue to see shorter and shorter delivery time from the different marketplaces. There will be new companies emerging in Vietnam to offer short time delivery. Hey, and that's my profile, right? Anyhow, so those are my predictions. I think some of these are too early to say. So let's check at the end of the year. Of course, some of these things are probably impacted by COVID-19, but let's see how good those predictions are. Take fucking action and don't be a fucktard.